People ask why a lot of my original content started off as more dance videos with no words. And, really it's because I had a lot to say, too much to say that you could even fathom. And I feel like sometimes you can say a lot more without words. And just my acting experience, the background that I have, learn if they actually applied themselves and wanted to listen and or watch instead of talking all the time. I know that I am guilty of having a lot to say and not thinking that other people are at the same level. And so I used to talk over them. And it wasn't until I took the time to really be still and quiet and alone that I realized that a lot of the time going out and playing with others, especially like at bars and that kind of thing, nobody really wants to listen to anybody. And that's where I thought I was doing my best work. I thought that I was networking with like-minded people. It turns out I really wasn't, because all these people never turned into true friends. They just were drinking buddies and false friends. People that you just grow old and die with. They're not people that replenish your life on any level. So I'm still looking for the audience that wants to listen, that cares about what I have to say. And I just stopped talking. I just stopped and I started dancing because that was the only way I felt heard. And it's because I didn't care if anybody was listening anymore. I was actually having so much fun talking in a new language that I didn't care. I was so sick of trying to be heard that I just was like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to speak, and I don't care if you're listening, watching, whatever it is. I'm going to put this code here now, and it's going to help you, but you won't listen, so I'm going to put it here anyway. And it felt so much more powerful than trying to get a drunk person to listen to what I was trying to say. And I wasn't trying to say, don't drink anymore. But what I was trying to say was, you're not listening. You're not listening to what's going on around you. And until you can do that, I'm going to have no voice. And that's okay with me, because I'm getting what I need through this dance. And you might not know what I'm doing yet, but I am helping you. And I can't get you to listen, so I'm going to get you to watch. And if I can get you to watch, that's okay too. Because then I know for sure you're not ready for what I'm bringing. And what I'm bringing is love and light. But not everybody's ready to receive it. And like I said, most people in the places that I used to dwell, which I sometimes go revisit, are not ready. And I've been looking for my audience in all the wrong places, and that's okay. I think that that's the beauty of this work. It's like, of course you would go to your anti-audience. If you can't win them there, you ain't gonna win them anywhere. And I know I say ain't, for fun. But in all honesty, I recorded the videos as an expression of teaching. Because when I've been in classrooms with young people, the quieter I got, the more they listened. And I've had a lot of experience in audiences of young people. And that taught me so much about how to appeal to an audience that is receptive and wants information. I don't want to give you a bunch of jargon and information that might be false. I want to give you divine light codes. I want to give you directly from source through my body and to you. So I really try to use a lot less words and a lot more action to show you how I'm feeling about a particular topic or interest. I think that just like art on all levels, music, visual art, pantomime can be very misinterpreted and used very negatively, if not channeled, or I guess I should say managed well. If it gets into the wrong hands and people want to ascribe meaning that is really false and negative to my intentions, it could really bode very poorly for me. So it's best that I do start using my voice before I really go public with some of the videos I created. I will say it's interesting that when I was getting I would call it sensations from somewhere I didn't quite know where I was getting them from. Like, sometimes artists call it like they just get this creative force that just comes over them, or writers are like, it wasn't me, it just like came out of my hand, I don't even know where it came from. That's how I feel about some of the videos I created. Yes, I did a lot of background work before I pressed record on the video camera. I made sure that the background said something. I made sure that the lighting said something. I wasn't quite sure what I was saying yet, though, is what's important to know, is that I was very much under the control of what I call a higher power. And I felt in some ways like I was being used in a good way. Like it felt good as it was happening. And even when I watch back on these videos, I'm like, yeah, I was in it. I was in some people call it the vortex. I was in that flow, that creative flow, where you just feel invincible and nothing matters except for what you're trying to communicate. And then I published some of them to, YouTube, thinking everyone would understand. And I realized that I didn't give any background or information as to what I was saying, because I didn't quite understand what I was saying. I just felt as if everyone would get it. And I guess that sounds crazy on some levels, but to me it didn't seem crazy at all. It seemed like, yes, everyone's going to understand exactly what I'm saying. And it wasn't until I kind of took some time and felt severely rejected and even trolled and mildly abused, by the public, to kind of understand that, that was such a high frequency that felt like from the future. Like, it felt like I was given information from the future to show the world. And I kind of realize now that people might not get it until the future. They won't understand what I was doing. And a lot of the stuff now is starting to come to light. Even as I watch it, I'm like, oh, are you a psychic? Like, what the fuck is this? What is this? That's kind of the cool thing about when you let the higher power take over and you just release resistance. It's sort of, I don't know, I was told everything would work out in the end. And I call it a leap of faith, but I also went through a tremendous amount of turmoil because I was like, for sure, this video is gonna like reach people and make sense of all of this. I don't know, whatever I thought was wrong. And it could just have been me working through my own personal battles. But the thing is we're all connected. So it does translate. It's just that I didn't have the right words to express. I was like a little bit still in trauma when I was creating that stuff. And to me, that trauma then it's like it made manifest in the COVID time. Like, I started this in 2017. COVID didn't even happen until much later, and not much later, you know, a couple of years, but sometimes I feel like the work I do is about 2 years early from when it actually hits. So that's interesting, just to think about the duplicity of it all, and the fact that a lot of what I try and heal is polarity. And the fact that it would be the number 2 is kind of synchronistic in some strange way. But I digress. You're asking about the videos and how to interpret them. And all I can tell you is that, yes, me as the creator and the producer of it and the performer in it, yes, I was a huge part of it, but there was something much bigger as the driving force, and we still have yet to determine what the message is. I'm still trying to uncode it. I think that there's a lot of information in the physical manifestation of those movements. And I think that I definitely consciously wanted people to like it and to find it visually pleasing and stimulating. But I really think that it's not about sex. If that's been misinterpreted, that's a sad thing, because really, to me, it wasn't sexual. It was very much a deep spiritual code that lives way beneath the surface of sex. Sex is so primitive and animalistic. It's not. It can be a spiritual experience. So if you found it sexy on that level, then yeah, I guess I tend to agree with you. But I would more say that it's me trying to create an art form that hasn't quite been uncovered yet, which dance, of course, is an art form. But I was trying to utilize several different art forms in conjunction and use it as a telepathic sort of tool to tap into like hidden information. And I've done tons of like investigative research. And so I guess all in all, what I was trying to do is tell a story in a new way. It's that simple. I was just trying to be a storyteller in a different, more creative way than I've ever seen done. And it's really hard to do that in art, like recreate not recreate, but to do something in a new way, in a way that it hasn't been done. And I'm really grateful to YouTube, because even in the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes, and I always really thought that music was the speaking force. So I accidentally uploaded a bunch of other people's music, and I kept getting shut down, and I was like, I'm just trying to deliver messages. I'm not trying to steal. And so it's really hard to get in touch with musicians and ask permission. And I never ever wanted to do anything that took away from another artist. And I think that that's really important, to let other artists know that no, it's not okay to ever steal. It's not. Like, that's the last thing I ever want to do. I just have always been passionate about being creative and celebrating art. And so I tried to do it in a way that was original. And also, every time I ever used another musician's music, in my opinion, I was celebrating them. I was saying, I love what you're doing. Look, this is what I made. It's almost like a cat bringing a fucking mouse to their owner. It was like, I love your music this much. Look, this is what I've done with it. What do you think? And whether or not you like a dead mouse at your doorstep, I was trying to show love. And so, I guess sometimes cats get in trouble for being, for showing love in a weird way. I guess that's all I can say. I'm just a fucking cat who showed love in a weird way, and it definitely, I didn't get put down. Nobody was mean to me, but I definitely had to learn that some people don't like when you bring dead mice to their doorstep. I've gotten way too far on this analogy. All I'm simply saying is I never wanted to hurt anybody. Even a mouse. I never wanted to hurt a mouse. I just wanted to celebrate what I thought was a beautiful expression of something I identified with. And I wish that if I had to do it again, that the rules were more simply laid out, and that I had been given an opportunity to collaborate with people instead of having to try and get my message through on the only way I knew how. Because I don't think that higher up artists are easy to connect with. There's no real way to do that. You have to go through an agent. And when you're a nobody who is equally talented on a different level. You just have to try and get their attention any way you can. And sometimes that means pissing them off. And that's, again, that was never my intention. But I think that a lot of the artists that I look up to would be pretty impressed with what I could do music video wise with their content if they would just watch it instead of like banning it before they watched it. It would be pretty helpful for all concerned, because how are you going to recognize great talent? And I mean, you had to come from somewhere. You didn't just start at the top. And if you care about helping anyone at the bottom, which, hey, that's me, then why wouldn't you want to watch what I did with your work? Like, at least give it an opportunity and see what you think before banning it. And I guess I just hope YouTube is doing that. I hope they're at least, before they shut you down, they're giving the original creator of the song an opportunity to see what you're doing with it. That would be the most fair. It's like submitting an application. But if there's a middle force saying, nope, 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 that's copywritten music, well, how in the hell is anyone ever going to get to be up there with them if there are people at the bottom just trying desperately to identify? I'm not a fan. That's the thing. I'm more than a fan. I'm a creator. So I want to be with you. I want to be equal to you. I don't want to steal your spotlight. All I want is to collaborate with you and be treated like the artist that I am. So I guess we're just going to keep getting into a really tricky situation where people are going to continue to steal if we don't create a better way for them to collaborate. That's all, you know? We need a lot less of this class division and a lot more opportunity for people to be discovered and to get paid for their creative work. And if there was anything I could do to help that process, I wouldn't mind being shut down so much and having to deal with so much failure, because then at least I would feel like jumping off the cliff the way that I did and taking the leap of faith that I did, it would matter more, because it would mean that something positively changed for those who are willing to take that leap. I don't believe in stealing, but I do believe that some people are given no other option. Some people have nothing and they have to steal. So I would like to create some sort of platform where people aren't forced to have to do things that are, intrinsically wrong just to get the notice or the door to open for them to even be witnessed. You can't expect people not to do terrible things if they are suppressed and oppressed for, no matter what they do, they don't get in to even have a chance. You can't do that to people or they will rebel. And so I guess all I'm saying is that in the beginning of those videos, I had to learn very quickly that I was going to have to get really creative if I was going to get anybody to look at my work. I was going to have to get so creative, and I couldn't do what everyone else had already done. I had to do something that maybe breaks some rules. But just like a lot of the top creators on this planet, like Facebook would be a great example. Sometimes you have to break things. And breaking things creates renewal. Because if it's broken, it has to get fixed. And sometimes when you do something that shakes things up and messes things up, that's when people start waking up to the fact that things need to change. And I don't like making people uncomfortable, but I've been uncomfortable for a really long time. And I honestly feel like if I have to be uncomfortable, why don't you? Sorry, not sorry, you know? It sucks to be at the bottom all the fucking time and to have a heart of gold and to continually do things and follow the rules and try and please everybody all the time. Sometimes it really does pay off to do something against the grain and shake shit up and make people mad, because that's what art is about. It's about making people feel something. And even if it's a feeling that they don't like, it makes them wake up to a part of themselves that needs to be addressed. So, you ask about why I didn't speak. Because I had a lot to say. That's the answer.
Connect, create, educate. Unlock your limitless potential.
Be the flow.